Welcome to Progress Always, where we empower leaders to create alignment between their habits and goals by prioritizing their health and eliminating stress. And today, my guest is Josh Otero, founder and chairman of the Warrior Gamer Foundation, spearheading the initiative of mental health for veterans and government employees by reshaping mental health using AI and innovation to uplift those who serve. Man, we go way back to running gyms together.
Yep.
And, watching your evolution out of fitness into Warrior Gamer has been really cool for me from the outside looking in. And it's been 100% in an observational capacity. And as we've reconnected and gotten to understand at a deeper level what Warrior Gamer is all about and what you've been working on, holy shit, bro. Like, how incredible is what you're doing? And I'm so curious, first and foremost, tell everybody listening what Warrior Gamer is all about, and then we'll talk about how you got into it.
Absolutely. And thanks again for having me. This is like you said, this has been a long time coming, and we go over a decade back. So it's been a pleasure. So the foundation, what we do is we promote health and wellness and communityship through gaming. So whether that's in person or online, we try to connect veterans and service members through gaming. And we use that as a way to connect people, even if you're not in the same area or state. We could connect you if you're deployed and you're playing with your kids. Gaming is a vehicle to connect. But we use gaming specifically in a vehicle to help improve mental health and connectivity.
So walk me through the correlation between gaming and mental health.
So one of the things that gaming does is gaming helps take your mind off of whatever you're thinking about. So if you're in game, you're not thinking about whatever ails you have. And so gaming helps take that reality that you might be living in and kind of get you out of that reality. The other thing gaming does is when you're gaming with friends, it connects you with others. So not only does it put you in an alternative reality, but it also gives you that sense of connectiveness and community that you need, especially if you're lonely and isolated or you live somewhere where there's not a lot of people. So there's multiple facets in the role that gaming plays in mental health, but it's alternate, it's giving you alternative reality, putting your mind somewhere else, and then it's providing a sense of community and connection, specifically if you're playing a game that has others that are involved.
Right on. Now, I was just listening to, coming into the election, one of Rogan's most recent podcasts with Elon, and he was talking about, did you hear that conversation yet?
I didn't. I'm a big fan of Elon. So.
Well, there's a piece of it that you'll be genuinely interested in, because they get into gaming and being, I guess Elon is in the top 1% in Quake or some shit like that. But he was talking about, the fine motor skills that are required to be a top flight gamer, and also the catharsis of the focus required to be ever present to play at that level. And I'm curious, because everything you just said brought me back to that conversation. Is it the focus and catharsis that's born of that experience that eases any of the negative mental health things going on with these veterans, or is it go beyond that?
It goes beyond that, but that's definitely one of them. Because if you think about it, if you're intimately focused in something, whether it's a first-person shooter game, role-play game, whatever that game is, you're only and you're playing at a high level, which everybody wants to play at a high level. So even if you're not in the top 1%, you still want to be in the top 1%.
You got to focus. You got to focus with 1% effort. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not thinking about 4,000 different things like you might be thinking if you were just sitting there like watching TV or something. You're intimately involved in the game, and so that's preventing you from thinking about anything else but the game. So that's automatically taking you off of whatever is ailing you. So that just automatically does that, and then then it goes beyond that. But that's like the initial thing that it does right off the bat is it kind of gets you focused on one thing versus every other thing that you were thinking about prior.
Yeah. So where my mind goes as you say that, there's obviously an inherent healthy productivity associated with displacing yourself from your reality, if only for a moment, to gain clarity of a better path forward, assuming that you find yourself in negative circumstances, right? If everything's all good, this only enhances the great, right? And also I think that there's a small but still existing probability that there's avoidance behavior as well, where you can lean into gaming too much and avoid your circumstance. And that's obviously not the mission of Warrior Gamer. So there's the displacement from your reality to just give, if nothing else, give you a break from your circumstance. And then where does the productivity and the tools to move out of, transcend your negative circumstance come in as a byproduct of Warrior Gamer?
So beyond the gaming, we have a Discord community, which if you're not familiar with Discord, it's basically a place for people to come talk to, meet. You have live chats, you have lounges. We do weekly events, resume building workshops, and we have a bunch of games in there. So what we provide is a place for people to go. So you're not playing a game, you're actually going to a community.
Okay.
So beyond the game, there's a sense of community. You don't need to be, most people, when they're in our community at the time, they're not playing, they're just they're talking, they're memeing, they're doing whatever. They're just being a part of something else.
Yeah.
Is bigger than themselves, which then that also gives you that sense of purpose and meaning. So we're not only providing a safe space to go to kind of share with what you're going through or talk, but then if you want to game, we have these channels in there where you could game with somebody else. So it goes way beyond just gaming, because you're right. You could game for 18 hours a day and it's completely unhealthy.
You're right.
But if we're trying to get you involved with that community and have you talking, then you're actually vocalizing. And then, one of the things that we're working on too is to get you active, right? How do we get you outside? How do we get you doing things, right? And so that's like the next level, but that's, this connection, community, and then giving you, an alternative to watching TV or doing something that may not be as productive.
Yeah, I love that. And, PTSD is a buzzword in the veteran community. It is very real, is very prevalent. And have you guys been around long enough, or at least collected enough data to this point to create any kind of correlation between Warrior Gamer and 22 veteran suicides a day and bringing that number down? Where are you at with that?
So we actually did an IRB study, which is Internal Review Board study with Harrisburg University in our community, and members that are in our community feel a sense of purpose, meaning, and it gives them hope. So we've actually proven that through this study, the science-backed study, that people that are part of our community have that. So obviously, what is that? The direct correlation is that helps prevent suicide, because you're part of a community, you're part of something that gives you a sense of purpose. So we've actually done it was a single study, but it did prove out the fact that we do provide a sense of community and a safe space for people to go that may not feel a part of anything, especially if you're transitioning from service and you leave in that unit and you don't have a family or community outside. And so we give you that safe space and that community to be a part of.
Yeah, dude, that is so massive, because, and I'll share the story with you, and it's not something that I talk about very often. My experience in leaving the uniform, and for those of you not listening, you can see that license plate behind me here. I'm a Marine, and in the gun club, when you're part of the big green machine, you're in an environment where you not only have that larger sense of purpose and mission that goes along with service, but also, interestingly enough, you can move mountains for pizza and beer, right? And I'll never forget I was stationed down in Yuma, where, for those of you unfamiliar with Arizona geography, that's where you stop for gas on the way to San Diego from Phoenix. And when I was leaving active duty, literally for pizza and beer, all I had to do was pay for gas and booze. When we got up here, we loaded up a U-Haul of me and a buddy of mine, drove all the way up to Scottsdale, moved all my shit in, partied all night, and then he went back to work on Monday. And if that's what you become accustomed to, in terms of like people you barely know will drive 300 miles with you, move all your shit in, you pay the tab, and they're on their way. if that's what you become accustomed to, it is not unusual. It wouldn't be um, overstating that becomes an expectation of everybody, right? And these are the things that they don't necessarily prepare you for in transition. And I will never forget, shortly after moving up here, I had to fly out for a buddy's funeral. And I was seeing a girl at the time, and I remember texting her, "Hey, can I get a ride to the airport?" Uber wasn't Uber just yet, and I didn't know how to hail a cab. And her response to me, and like from the other side, there was no malintent in her response, but she was like, "Why don't you just get a taxi?" And I remember being absolutely infuriated, like absolutely pissed. And in reflection and all the work that I've done, for myself, on myself, is like, wow, how irrational is that response, right? And still, it's like that was such a reality check. Like, hey, dude, you're not in the Marines anymore. It's different out here. And for a lot of us, like, as minimal as that experience, as that story may sound, that is monumental. And it is a mountain made of a molehill that some of us just can't get over. And we find ourselves in the deepest and darkest of places as a result. So when we look at PTSD, we like to paint this picture that I held my buddy in my hands after he got blown up by an IED, and he took his last breath looking me in my face. And yes, that can create that, but also just the separation and the loss of community, and just being able to phone a friend and get shit done can be a really hard adjustment for people. Can be just as hard an adjustment for some people.
A buddy of mine uses the analogy, you go from the A team to the C team. So you're part of a cohesive unit where everybody will do anything for each other. And then a C, like, you're just, nobody cares. Like, oh, yeah, you got a flat tire. Okay, great. Or you need to move. Great. Okay. You need to get to the airport. Okay. Go. Call an Uber. Like, not my problem.
Yeah. It's interesting because, dude, I'll never forget. We had driven to San Diego and just got absolutely ripped all weekend long. Come back hungover. I'm like in bed, in and out of consciousness. And it's like 5 p.m. on a Sunday. And the last of us is coming over the hill from San Diego, coming through the mountains, and he blows the tire on his motorcycle. And he calls me. He's like, "Hey, dude, I need you to come get me. I don't have a trailer. So I have to go find a hitch. I have to call around to see who's got a trailer that we can strap his bike to." So 3 phone calls and a trailer later, I'm headed up to Alpine, California, which is like a 2-hour drive. Swing around, load up his bike. By the time it's all said and done, we get back to Yuma at like 2:00 in the morning. And I'm like, "Dude, you're buying breakfast." We stop at IHOP, bike still loaded on the trailer, have breakfast, drop him off at his house, shit, shower, shave, and we're back on the job at 7:00 in the morning. And like, that's what you get used to. And I don't think people really understand that's the environment you're leaving. And the fact that that's not the norm out here, not to say that it doesn't exist, it's just not normal. It's tough for people to wrap their mind around what you left and creating different expectations out here. Nobody that's still in the club talks about what it's like, and on the other side of that, can't relate to what it's like outside the club. So there's really, it's a very extreme adjustment. I was here and now I'm there, and
culture shock.
Yeah, and it's that's a dynamic that nobody really talks about, and it's a son of a bitch to adjust. It
It's like
really
going to a
is.
foreign country, and then you're like, wait, why doesn't Nobody speaks English. Like, I don't understand. Like,
Mhm.
where do I go? Nobody. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious because correct me if I'm wrong. You never served,
Nope.
right? So where does your passion and purpose to serve this mission come from? Because in having these conversations with you, like it is obvious that you are not only empathetic to everything that I just said and the things that are even more extreme than that, and also it resonates so hard for you. So where how how did it come to be, man?
So when I was younger, I wanted to be a SEAL, and I had the color blindness, and I took that Ichihara eye exam and I failed it, and I could have probably cheated this. I've heard a lot of stories, so I probably could have figured something out, but I never went in. But I've always been passionate about the military and what the military does, and so a good friend of mine is literally just retiring out of the Marines this year. Grew up one of my best friends, like from 10 years old on. And so
Mhm.
I've always had a passion and an interest in the military. And so when I saw the need, and it was during COVID when I started the foundation, I just saw this huge increase in social isolation, depression, then leading to suicide. I'm like, all right, this is my chance to serve. Since I didn't get to serve on the other side, I could serve on this side. So that's the reason why I started the foundation, is like for me to be able to serve.
Hey man, on behalf of all of us, thank you.
It's been an honor. I've met some, now I'm immersed in the community on a daily basis. So
Mhm.
I've heard literally hundreds of stories, spoken to hundreds of people, probably more than hundreds.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I could improve like one life, and I know we've improved a lot more than one life,
Yeah.
it's a big deal. And so I'm grateful to be able to do what I do and to be able to kind of push this forward.
Yeah. Are there any stories that you can share without violating any kind of confidentiality of like, somebody that has made an extreme pivot for the better as a result of their Warrior Gamer experience?
Yeah. So what we do is we have, like I said, our Discord server, and we've got testimonials in there. So we've got
Mhm.
dozens of testimonials of people that, this has changed their life. But one of the things that we have in our Discord, we have a peer connect platform, and it's veteran to veteran. And all of our veterans have gone through this training. And so if there's a veteran in crisis 24/7, we will connect. We have a veteran that's standing by to connect with them. And so we've taken over 123 people through that and never lost a person. And these are people that are in crisis. There is a story about a person that was in some other country. I don't remember which one. And his passport was taken from him, and he was completely broke, and he needed to come back to the United States. And so we actually helped get him from wherever he was stuck in a foreign country
Mhm.
to the United States.
Holy
So that's
shit.
like probably the most extreme, and he was thinking about ending, his life, because he was out of options.
Mhm.
And so we've have stories like that are local stateside, they weren't in a foreign country stuck with their passport taken. But
Mhm.
we've had people that are, that were on different, taking substances, and, called us, and our team worked with them and kind of basically talked them off the ledge. There's probably 4 scenarios that I could think of, like right off the top of my head, that were pretty extreme, where they either had the gun in their mouth or something. They were very close, and we kind of talked them off that ledge, and knock on wood, we haven't lost a person in 4 years that we've been doing this.
Wow. That's incredible, man. And God bless you for it. The gaming side of the house, is there a specific platform? Is this like modern warfare? Like, is there a strategy behind this gaming thing? Like we all just came back from the sandbox. Are we going to like eat ease our way out and just kind of like take small doses of modern warfare and stay connected to the shit? Or are we like going Mario Kart with the gaming to completely displace from the experience? How's it go?
We're a Denny's
Because
menu.
admittedly, I'm not a gamer. So what are we playing?
The funny thing is, nor am I. I've been given multiple gaming setups, and I've given them all away because I don't game. And then we do some stuff in VR, but every time I put on a VR headset, I get a headache. So I've given away I've had like 4 VR headsets given to me, and I give them away like because I get a headache. I'm like,
well, next time you get one, give it to me so I can give it to my son.
okay.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
love that.
So is there a specific game that galvanizes this community, or is it gaming in general? Like what's the setup?
Plural, yeah. So it's gaming in general. So we do, again, it's like we're a Denny's menu. So we've got literally 48 different channels in our server. So League of Legends, World of Warcraft, Rocket League. Like we're doing a Rocket League tournament this weekend in person. We do Valorant tournaments in person. Smash Bros is one of the most popular games. So there is no rhyme or like literally, everybody is, some people don't like the first person shooter because it gives them, flash, trauma. So we stick with, Smash Bros or Rocket League or other games that are not, first person shooters.
Yep.
So, there is no rhyme or reason. It's gaming plural. There is no game that we play that would set us from anything else.
Yeah. That's awesome. What, so who's advocating for you guys on Capitol Hill? Like you've got to be getting some support from like the DOD, the VA. Somebody's got to be on your team because this is needed.
So I'm still working our way into the DOD. We do have we just hosted a mental health and gaming summit at Howard University in July, and we had the secretary of the VA come and speak and talk about, and we worked with his team for probably 12 hours to help kind of put together how are they addressing younger veterans and how are they doing that through gaming. So he actually came to our event. It was a 2-day summit, and he actually was our keynote and spoke about what the VA specifically is doing to target younger veterans and how they're doing that through gaming. So we are, and then I'm on the board of one of their committees at the VA on gaming and how to use gaming as a tool to connect with veterans. Because one of the things that the VA has issues with is connecting with younger veterans. The way to do that is through gaming. So we do a lot of work trying to advocate on younger veterans to use gaming as a vehicle to connect, because you could connect with them anywhere in the country, right? And so they're not going to your pool halls and your bowling alleys like your traditional VFWs and all that kind of stuff. But they are gaming. So the way to connect with them is through gaming. So we are actively advocating in the VA for gaming. I'm working on it with the DOD. I've done presentations to base commanders and things like that, but I'm still working our way in. We don't have the way in yet to the highest levels, which hopefully we will by next year.
Okay. Question. The VFW and all the,
American Legion.
Yeah. The veteran watering holes with leather vests, bearded Vietnam guys. Is that going by the wayside with the younger generations? Are we not in there? Like
you're not in the VFWs. Yeah, you're not in the VFWs. The American Legion is starting gaming. They've got American Legion Gaming now. So American Legion actually partnered with one of our partners called Regiment Gaming, and they're starting to do more gaming. I'm trying to directly work with the VFW because we're trying to we want to do the same thing with the VFW.
Okay.
But I've had conversations, but nothing yet. But yeah, they are going by the wayside. So I'm trying to, get specifically us into the VFWs as a way to offer gaming to the younger vets to get them in there because they need the members and they need the attendance. So
yeah. I hadn't, until you mentioned it, I hadn't even thought about it because it's one of the things that I really loved. My last stop prior to leaving Yuma, my going away was at the VFW. And you talk about community, what's so interesting is sitting next to some salty guy that served, 20, 30, 40, Vietnam, 50 years ago. And, Vietnam, Gulf War, different war, same Marine Corps, same bullshit, and listening to their stories and then telling our stories. And it's just like, wow, even the old breed had it just as shitty, just a little bit different than we did, but at the same time, there's that generational disconnect. And that's kind of what I'm getting at. Instead of, going to the bar and drowning in your sorrows, you know, and safe a place as the VFW has historically been for that, for veterans, in this new generation of gamers, the prevalence of isolation and solitude seems to be exponentially higher. Is that an adequate observation?
I would say yes. And like to your point, like when's the last time you went to the VFW since then?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so we need a connection tool other than online, and that's kind of why, you know, we initially brought in rugby to our games,
Yep.
and our events, but since we moved to DC, it's been harder. So, and it takes money.
Mm-hmm.
But we try to incorporate physical something into a lot of what we know, because our whole mission is promote health, wellness, and communityship. So wellness, well, wellness is getting active. You know, it's nutrition, it's sleep, it's all that kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why we have, you know, Miss Mindset every other Wednesday, or Wednesday, to come in and talk. So we try to really encourage healthy activities. We're doing a physical, well, I thought we were doing it this month. I guess it's next month, but like a 30-day physical challenge, you know, so we try to do things to get people active. But yes, to your point, like getting people to get to community, we only do 3 events a year. So there has to be more mechanisms where you could go and play together.
Yeah. Is there, do VFWs operate like a franchise? You know, it's just you all by your lonesome out here in the Scottsdale chapter versus the Buffalo chapter versus the Austin chapter, or is there a network of VFWs that Warrior Gamer can plug into, and then it just becomes this hub and spoke concept?
So I know more about the American Legion than I do
Oh, okay, yeah.
VFW. American
Okay.
Legion, they do events and they do posts, right? Because you're like the commander of your post. So then, like what they do is they go out and recruit. So like the San Diego, or one of those, is like the largest post in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So they are always doing events. So I think VFW, I'm still trying to get into the VFW, like from a working perspective.
We can stick with the American Legion.
Yeah.
So how's that working?
So they have events, they have group events. You know, you have your post, but then they have their events, and then they have national events. And the VFW does too, because I have an invite to the national convention for the VFW. So like
cool.
December 5th, they have a big convention in DC. So they bring all the VFWs in and they talk, but I don't know how often they do that. I've only been invited to this one.
Yeah.
So I don't know and this is their annual holiday party. So I'm guessing they operate somewhat similar, but I don't know. But yeah, what the American Legion's trying to do is build that sense of like, so what's working with one, they try to share the secrets, and then they have their networks. So, you know, they do have like their national supervisor that is trying to get each one of the branches in, and more people attending and more members, because then they make, you know, that's how they make their money.
Yeah.
And so the more members they have, the more money they make. So they have nationally, and I know the VFW does that too, because that's who I'm speaking with, is the national people. So they do have national leaders, they have regional leaders, and their whole goal is to improve attendance and membership.
Have you, at an organizational level, have you experienced any pushback behind, you know, like just getting the concept of gaming in front of, as opposed to any other initiative in mindset and healing?
No, not from that perspective. It's been the follow-up, or the follow-through has been my hardest thing. Is, yeah, we're interested. We know that gaming is a way to connect with younger vets. It's just, okay, let's do something. And then it's crickets.
Yeah. They so it sounds like they haven't assigned somebody to run point and see it all the way through with you. Is that?
Yeah. And I think that's it. They're spread so thin, is that one person that I'm talking to probably has 10 different jobs, and I'm his 11th.
Yeah.
And so taking on an 11th, he's like, well, I don't really have the time. I'm working, X amount of hours a week. And so I can't really take on even though I like this initiative, it's too much for me, one person, to handle.
Sure. What about, have you explored like going after, and creating relationships with, the quote unquote successful veterans out there to drive some financial backing and validate this and expedite it. Like Robert Kiyosaki's a Marine. The founder of GoDaddy is a Marine. You've got Matt Best and Black Rifle out there. Has Warrior Gamer got in front of that tier of veterans, the celebrity vet, if you will?
Yeah. So that's a great question. And the answer is no. And so we're actually looking to bring on another executive director, because the whole point is I have an executive director running, and we don't have an executive director right now. So I'm acting in that role, but I'm looking to bring one on by next year. So we're talking to somebody currently, and we were kind of going through our fundraising strategies. Like, Josh, you're doing your story's all wrong, and you're kind of doing it all wrong. And I'm like, and the more we kind of talked to him, like, oh my gosh, you're right. Like, he's like, you're leaving, you have a blue ocean, and you're like not even addressing it. Because up until now, we've done just corporate sponsors. And he's like, dude, this is a donor story. Why aren't you going after wealthy veterans and asking them for money? I'm like, I don't know. I've never done it. And he's like, well, you better start. Like, if you want to get to the numbers that you want to get to. So to your point, I've not done it. And it's it's kind of on me, because like I said, that's a blue ocean. Like, there's so much out there, and what we're doing is very unique. Yep. But yeah, I have not asked for money. And so that's one of the things I'm starting to do. Like,
well, there's a handful of cats in my network that I'd love to introduce you to. You got Benjamin Bunn down in Tampa. You got Nick Kumalatzos, who runs the Agogi out of North Carolina. He's a MARSOC Marine. Ben is a airborne guy, Army Ranger. Yeah, I'm gonna have to scrub my list and get it to you, because what you're doing is really special, man. And I don't think, going back to this whole American Legion VFW angle, I don't think it would be a hard sell to retrofit those facilities to host gaming, because the other side of it is, this generation of veterans are drinking less, smoking less, so like the smoke-filled pool hall allure that was those institutions may not necessarily be that attractive anymore.
That's true. And so I actually flew out to Lackland Air Force Base last year and presented to General Allen to take their old bowling alley and convert it to a gaming center. And I followed up with them a few times, and he kind of gave it to somebody, and then it kind of got lost. But that was I think when MWR gets involved, it makes it more difficult too. But
there's a lot of red tape and bureaucracy when you go that way. Yeah.
So we never ended up getting it off the ground, but he loved that. Well, he brought in 20 people from his team. So it was like a big round table with 50 people there. Not
too many Chiefs, dude. 20. Too many Chiefs. Who's
and their lawyers were on the TV. And so there was literally 25 people in the room. So, when you have 25 people in a room to make one decision, it doesn't. Yeah. So, they loved it. Again, but with 25 Chiefs, it never happened. But they love the idea, they love the concept, and they said it's not being utilized. So they have an empty building, nobody uses, or 5 people a week or whatever it is. And it's just, but so there's definitely a need. There's a want. They're just again,
dude, you have the building blocks for an incredibly empowering 21st century arcade, bro. Have you looked at it like that? Converting these, abandoned buildings, low volume watering holes, like converting them into this virtual gaming center, this 21st century arcade experience for us.
I have a white paper that we wrote with Cana Advisors. And he actually wrote it. I gave him the info and he wrote it. So it came from somebody else other than me. And it's a white paper on our Warrior Gamer Technical Command Centers. And they're basically, gaming, it's basically gaming centers, but we could teach leadership, we could teach resilience, we could do all these other skills through these centers. And so we had, I have the white paper, we had a deck. I mean, I pitched another general. We pitched an admiral from the Navy at Virginia Beach. And so, yeah, we were on it. We spent a few months and we kept hitting a wall. And I'm like, all right, it's not going to be on the base. And maybe the best chance is to do it off base where you don't have to all the red tape. But yeah, so there's a demand, there's a need, but it takes some Benjamins, and we don't have that. So we never, it kind of died on the vine. But yeah, there, to your point, there's a big need. And I mean, that's kind of why we built, I spun this AI company on mental health to be a for-profit, because I realized there's only so much you could do when you're pushing against roadblocks. And so, you have to take a different perspective.
Yeah. So perfect world, we're at the end of the rainbow, staring at the pot of gold. What does Warrior Gamer look like at that point?
So my goal is to serve 100,000 people. So on my board, I'm serving 100,000 people. So what that looks like is we are the mental health and wellness vehicle for transitioning vets and service members that are looking to transition, as a community for people to go, to be a part of, and to give them a sense of purpose and meaning. And we do that through gaming. We could do that through, if we put, you get these gaming centers, which, that's a long shot, but, in a perfect world, we have these gaming centers, whether that's at VFW, we're just partnered with VFW, and we have every VFW has a little station where we could run events and we could do competitions and people could come and play and feel a part of something. So I would say in an ideal world, that's what it looks like. We have 100,000 people under our umbrella, and we're serving, and we're a place for people to go to feel safe and to be able to play.
Yeah. How many veterans do you have in your Discord right now?
Only 2,600.
Okay. So we gotta get you a bigger microphone, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what I'm going to do, when we're done with this conversation and this podcast is ready to drop, I'm heading out of town tomorrow. So I'm going to do my best to get it uploaded and ready to drop tomorrow morning. I'm going to shoot it out to all the veterans in my contact list, have them listen to this conversation and see what resources come your way.
I appreciate that. No, that would be, that would be helpful, because like I said, we're doing in May, we're doing a national security summit in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we've got the Special Operations Command there and some other people from the National Intelligence University. And we have General Hotel as our keynote speaker. So we're doing some impactful things. We'll have a few hundred people in attendance, and we'll reach 10,000 plus people during the event through our stream. So, we've got good impact, and we're really making changes. We just, again, it comes down to money, right? And we're limited to that in the scope because of money. And so the more money, the bigger impact. And for us to reach 100,000, we're going to need more resources. And so that's part of the whole game, is we're put on the best experiences in person, give them the best experience online, create the most friendly, welcoming Discord community, and save lives. I mean, and the bottom line, if we could lower that 22 a day, we've done our job.
Yeah.
And so if we're serving 100,000, but we're reaching millions, we go out on the VA's newsletter. So that's 13.5 million invests. So when we put on events, it goes to 13.5 million. So that's why we have tens of thousands or more people watching our stuff. But if we can impact, those lives and lower that, we've done more than our job, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, man, I think about the potential. You say 100,000, and then you've already got the reach of 13 million. Not if, but when this thing takes off, man, you're gonna have a massive impact. Because I just remember, shit, we're about to be in 25, so we'll call it 13 years ago, when I was leaving active duty. Like my Marines, if they weren't in the gym, doing PT or working on radar or getting ready to deploy, dude, they were on the sticks in front of a fucking screen.
Now it's only the last 13 years, it's only accelerated.
Yeah. So it is the right medium, to reach and create that impact. And I love the idea of, in next level speak, meeting them where they're at.
Yep.
Instead of, the old guard was, nope, you got to come to us. And you're creating a space where you're literally leveraging digital and AI and the internet to come to them and bring those resources to them. And I would say that is something that on a federal VA level, that has either that's not an initiative or it's failed to land. So dude,
One of the, to
well
your
done.
point, so we have that. So we created the Veteran Resilient Support System. So it's a
Okay.
pyramid where the base is actually built by AI. And I'll kind of talk about that in a second. We actually split that out into a for-profit company called Ilana.ai. But the tier 2 of that is our reconnect platform, which is what we currently have now. And then tier 3 is, somebody needs immediate support, we send them to professional services. But this whole triangle approach and giving people a place to go and feel safe, I think is important. And that's meeting them where they're at, which is, the next thing that's happening, was the gaming. Now it's AI. So what we're building with Ilana is a mental health and resilience platform where veterans and active duty could go and have a peer to talk to that we're not reporting, that they feel safe and comfortable with. But that peer, we're using Gen AI to learn and understand you, and we're training it on military speak and veteran speak. So it's not just trained on civilian, it's trained on, and so they're, Ilana's going to understand all of these things that you're going through and then be able to help guide you in that right direction. And then we're building in these micro learning courses. So if, Ilana notices that you're short coping skills or resilience, we'll have these 90 or 60-second micro learning courses to be able to teach you those skills that you might be deficient on to help you guide you along that journey. So we're your advocate as you manage transition, as you manage, just post-service life, and then to set goals and then help you achieve those goals. Because we're going to have a dashboard on there that you want to lose weight, stop smoking, get your MBA, whatever that goal is, to help you achieve those goals by holding you accountable and then training you and teaching you to change the behavior that might be holding you back.
Holy shit.
It's
Okay.
pretty.
Yeah. How far along is the Alana.ai initiative?
We just got funding from Amazon. So we're literally starting building, they already started building this week. The beta version will be ready by January. We have a lot of training that we have to do.
Yeah.
We are getting information from the VA, different universities. We have to train her to know how to talk to you and not just using ChatGPT. We're using specific training data, CPT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, and some other approaches to be able to talk to people. So that's the hardest part, is finding all this data and then feeding it to Ilana so she learns. So that takes a couple months. So we should have our beta version, which we want to use in Amazon in January.
Because that's what's the term that I just learned? You're using a large language model.
So we're connecting it to a large language model too. So we'll be using Llama 3.2, which is Meta's LLM, large language model. It's a competitor to ChatGPT, but there's some more things that Llama can do that ChatGPT can't, specifically for what we're trying to do.
In terms of vernacular and a specific
speaking mental health. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then not hallucinating, which is it's not the real thing, but we can't have her hallucinating.
Right.
Yeah.
I just learned about that shit too.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Oh man, dude.
And my partner, my co-founder, she's the brains. I'm not the brains by any. She
mouthpiece.
She's AI. She leads a team in AI and prompt engineering at Google. So she's, she teaches me everything I know, but that's what she does for a living at the highest level. And so we're able to take a lot of the stuff that she's understood and then some of our other team and kind of put that into action and help this community.
Cool, man. Cool. So where can we, let's look at it from a grassroots approach. Where can we, the veteran community, help you move Warrior Gamer forward?
I mean, to be blunt, we need donations, because like I said, we've only gone after corporate. We've never gone after donors. So, and we need money. So really it's getting us in front of the right people. So, the way to help is to introduce us to people that either have money or have access to the people that have the money. And then, we still need to get a little deeper in the DoD. So if there's higher level connections in the DoD that could help us to make some, at the Pentagon level and all that will help too. So those are, and then joining our community. Like I said, we only have 2,600, 2,700 people in there. And our goal was to get to 5,000 by the end of the year. So we're kind of short. But that's our goal, is to be able to, serve more people. So joining our Discord community, introducing us to people that may have access or have funds themselves, and then introductions to the senior level at the government.
Okay. Cool. Well, first things first, we got to get this out to my people so they can get the download on exactly what you're up to. And that'll definitely be a step in the right direction for sure. Cause there's the guys down at UHP in Arkansas. They just purchased a shit ton of land. It's the University of Human Performance. Are you familiar?
Yeah. I don't know him, but I'm friends with him on LinkedIn. But yeah, that's
So and then there's a couple of movers and shakers at Exos as well that are still tied to the tactical community. So yeah, to make this happen, man, I don't think it's going to take but 3 degrees of separation to get you moving in the right direction, for sure.
Well, I agree, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. The corporate space is tough, but there's enough of us out here, that are moving and shaking that can, push this initiative from a grassroots perspective, because it's I've always been curious about this. And when I ask us, it's always like, damn, that's a really good question. I wonder why that is. And that question being, how come we influential, impactful veterans don't know more of each other, or don't network more together? And what I'm seeing right now, my third eye is seeing, Warrior Gamers, a rallying cry to bring us together and help push this thing forward for the ones that haven't quite figured it out just yet in their transition to the first civilian division, the first Civ Div, as we call it. And dude, I'm 100% behind you. I appreciate everything that you're doing. Do you have like a GoFundMe, or have you looked at crowdfunding or anything like that?
No, we have a fundraising page, so it's on our website. So it's just donate now, and then we've got crypto. We've got a crypto one, so you could donate crypto, and then a regular one. So we've got 2 different sites. One's for like crypto and credit cards, and the other crypto and stock and stuff like that, and or DAFs, and then the other one is for just regular donations.
Okay, cool. Damn, man, that I'm so happy that we had this conversation.
Me too. I've been looking forward to this, because like I said, when did we meet? Like when you were 9 months out, right? You were probably like just less than a year out, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. We started running the same. I opened CrossFit PHX in April of 2013.
Yeah, and we were working out at Urban probably for a year.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So yeah, I met you in the summer of 2012. Yeah. And then you went on to open Power in Motion. Yep. Got out of the game. And what was the transition? How long in between offloading the gym and coming into Warrior Gamer?
Oh, didn't start Warrior Gamer until 2020.
Okay.
And so probably 5 years.
Okay.
4.5 years. It was a while. It wasn't right away. It was a while.
And what was the impetus for Warrior Gamer, bringing this thing full circle, coming back to the beginning? Okay.
COVID, mass spike in suicide in the military community.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, you're gonna touch a lot more lives than 100,000, brother.
Looking forward to it. I mean, the goal is $1 million with Ilana and 100,000 with the foundation. If we can make it $1 million both, I'll be a happy camper.
There you go. So for everybody listening, where can we go and support the Warrior Gamer Foundation and this initiative?
So there's a website that's just below warriorgmrfoundation.org. And there's a donate now link right on the homepage. And then for me personally, if you just want to follow what we're doing, I post everything on my LinkedIn. So it's just Josh Otero on LinkedIn, and I post all the initiatives that we're working on, as well as all the events that we support. Like we've got a event this weekend in Syracuse University, Veterans Day tournament. At the same time, we're doing an event in LA with the Team USA versus Team Ukraine. It'll be a fundraiser for us in the Call of Duty Endowment, and that's live, and we'll be streaming that. So we have 2 events this weekend simultaneous. So, and one's international because they're flying out from Ukraine to compete against the US team. So it's the military armed forces, Ukraine versus armed forces in the US. And so
no shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't think it's ever been done like in person before. So we're doing this one. August Interactive is our partner in that. So, and then We Play is the company that's hosting it. So yeah, it's I just posted it on my LinkedIn today.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I'm proud of you, bro. I really am. Yeah, this is needed. We need it. And I'm just happy to know you and, you know, helping it whatever which way I can to support this initiative and help you move it forward, man.
Well, I appreciate it. And I'm proud to know you too. So thank you for all you do. And then thank you for your support.
100%, brother. For everybody out there listening, go check out Josh's website, the warriorgmrfoundation.org. You can donate there, support this initiative, move this thing forward, climb to help him move this thing forward to get beyond 100,000. The veteran community is in need, and it's really important that initiatives such as this come from the citizens, not the organizations. And this is one of those. So if you're out there listening and you got a soft spot for the veteran community and trying and lowering that 22 veteran suicides a day exponentially, this is definitely a platform to help make that happen. And Josh, you know, thank you so much, brother. I'm grateful for you. And man, you got myself and the Next Level community behind you, brother. We're going to make this happen.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Cool. Until next time, guys, progress always.